Good afternoon. Welcome to the Code Enforcement Board, regular board meeting on raise your right hand to be sworn.
Okay,
Nobody.
we do have one gentleman on. Give me
We
one
do
moment.
have someone on Zoom.
We do, Mr. I don't know, he has his phone muted. Go in the back and see.
But it's not on.
Mr. Capazzoli? Let's see here. Yeah, he's. Give me 1 second. Mr. Capazzoli?
Yes,
Hi. One moment. Give me
hi.
a moment. You can go.
Video's on total delay. I'm watching myself moving around.
Right, it is.
Huh?
I think it's on a line.
I thought that was you, Jason, up there wearing a blue
Yes,
shirt.
That's me.
That is you?
Yeah.
There
Oh, okay.
you go. It was on delay for a while.
He's on. In the meantime, we're gonna work on trying to, I can hear him. I don't think you all can hear him as loud because we're trying to get him to come over the system. But I can swear him in. I'm just gonna turn. Mr. Capazzoli,
Yes,
can you hear me loud and clear?
I can.
Okay, I am going to swear you in because you will be providing comments related to your item, your case that's on the agenda. I can't,
Thank you for,
but I would ask that you raise your right hand if you can, and I'm gonna swear you in.
thank you.
By the authority vested in me as notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You'll be put in the waiting room until we get to your item, so just hold on, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
since this was a contractor problem and they did comply.
I don't have a mic over
Yeah, all right, but
there. So,
here's the thing, though, it's always a contractor issue almost. You know, how many times have we heard people come here and they say, oh, well, we live out of state. We had nothing to do with it. It was the contractor. They never followed through. They told us it was all taken care of, but we have to hold someone responsible.
But
And
I
that is
think-
the homeowner. I mean, I'm just
But-
saying, if we start making exceptions for
I
everybody.
just think that this, because it was not a major deal, and a lot of people who come before us have done some really major stuff, and we've never sometimes fined them at all. So if they did comply, I think that it could be a one-time whatever.
Yeah, in answer to Mr. Axelrod's question, you're not required to assess the administrative costs, but traditionally the board has assessed them.
Yeah, usually we don't fine them and it's just a $250 cost of prosecution. That's to cover their paperwork and they have to serve them and, you know, I have to go out and do these inspections but you know, the only issue I have with waiving the cost of prosecution is that these offenders didn't show up, okay? I mean, that's one thing. They're not here. If they were here and offered some kind of rebuttal testimony, it'd be different. But the way I look at it, if they're not even, they don't even show up here to rebut the testimony, then we have no choice but to go with the recommendation, which is not even a fine. It's just a standard cost of prosecution. Because, you know, if we start making arbitrary decisions to not assess the cost of prosecution, then it's going to, you know, then it's like a slippery slope. If we don't enforce it for some, we do for others, just because this is an AC unit. We have someone else on here that it's a water heater, you know, I mean, I didn't even know a water heater needed a permit for that, but apparently you need a permit for everything. So that's my position on it, but you know, we can vote. Someone can make a motion. Does anyone have a motion? Like, for example, here it is. All right. I would move in this case that there's a violation, a single violation, and that the offender be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be ordered to, that it was corrected already. So it's a violation, but corrected prior to hearing. So they would be found, the motion would be that they be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, but are now in compliance, and that a do not repeat order be issued. And this motion may include the assessment of prosecution costs because the town proved that a violation did exist. That would be my motion, but I don't know if I should be making the motion. Right. So that would just be my hypothetical motion. If someone else wants to make a different motion, but it would be along those lines.
I make a motion that the violation.
Is your microphone on?
I make a motion that the violation was corrected prior to hearing, but I move that the violation that was alleged is now in compliance, but we listened to his recommendation for the $250 fee.
Are you?
Number two.
Number two.
Okay, so the motion is, as I heard it, that the offender be found in violation, but corrected prior to hearing and is now in compliance, and no fine, but our standard assessment of prosecution costs,
Correct.
$250. That's the motion, correct?
Yes.
All right. Do we have a second? We have a second.
Roll call vote, Member LaSorsa,
Yes.
Member Trevini,
Yes.
Member Axelrod,
Yes.
Member
Because I don't
Murray?
want to be a renegade.
Okay, Vice Chairperson Perlow
Yes.
and Chairperson Schlam.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. Next one is Case number CC 2021-09-008. That's Eunice Bongiovanni, 4511 South Ocean Boulevard. That's the 45 Ocean building. The code violation section was 30-122A, requiring building permits. The violation was that it was observed flooring and drywall work without permit. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? It's time. I now open the violation hearing. I turn it over to Staff Code Enforcement Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Thank you, Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance. This is going to be a little tricky case here. I'm going to read it through. There's been a change in ownership on the property, very recent change in ownership. So I'm going to read the case into the record, and then we can, we'll give our recommendation as to how we move forward from here. Case number 2021-09-008, 4511 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 907, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on September 22nd, 2021, and most recently, February 7th, 2022. On September 22nd, 2021, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed: flooring and drywall work throughout the unit without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On September 22nd, 2021, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Eunice Bongiovanni. Service was obtained by certified mail and by posting at the property address on December 8th, 2021. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As I mentioned, this current owner has passed away. There was the property has changed hands. We had a lien request and we notified that there was a code case open on this property before this hearing. I believe it was January 6th or 7th, excuse me. Sorry, January 6th was the lien request for the sale of the property. Apparently, it's not registered on the property appraiser tax roll yet, but apparently the property has changed hands now. So there's a new owner on this property. After consulting with our town attorney, we can still, if it's the previous property owner's responsibility to convey this code case on the property to the new owner. So we have to give them a reasonable amount of time to rectify this work that was done without permit. So the town recommendation is that the new owner is found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be ordered to comply within 60 days or be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance. So this would also involve, I would start a new case on this property, give them additional 60 days to comply. And hopefully in that period, they get their permits for the work that's being done there. But again, that is, it's the responsible of the previous homeowner to make them aware that there was an open code case on the property before the transaction occurs. So any questions?
Yes,
Yes.
if you do that, so the first violation of the fee of $250 goes away.
Yeah, well, that's, there's a cost of prosecution
Right,
here.
but it would be
Right.
picked up by the
If-
next one.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if you guys, for the records, if you want to, find them in violation at this point, right? And no action required at this point because we're going to give the new homeowner
60 days.
60 days. Yeah, that's as far as the cost of, again, standard ask for the cost of prosecution all the time it takes for us to put these cases together. Whether it gets assessed now or never if they comply with, if they get their permits, right, within 60 days, then there wouldn't be an opportunity to recoup the prosecution costs. So we would be asking for prosecution
So
costs
your
today.
recommendation is that we just go with the new 250, correct?
Well, that we would ask for the 250 now, because there would
Oh,
be, that would be a
ask for it
whole,
now?
if it gets back to this point here, that would be a whole new,
Oh, okay.
set of workflow to get the case
Do
to the
we
hearing.
do we know that this guy, the new owner has closed already?
I don't know for sure, because I
Because-
checked on the property appraiser and there's no record. The
Because shouldn't the
Eunice
new
Bon
owner be
Giovanni
made
is,
aware of the situation prior to closing? of
there
what's
was a
happening?
lien request for the property, which we provided them
That'd
with
be
this
on the
code
title
case.
thing.
I don't know what happens with code cases when there's a transfer of property. There's obviously a legal responsibility to make the purchaser aware. I don't know what happened between the purchaser and the seller. All I know is that, we made this code case aware when they requested. the
How did you
lien.
guys find out about this? But did someone from the
This,
45 building?
45 This was work going on. I believe this was the property manager that let us know of work going on.
I've noticed there's a lot of calls for that 45 Ocean.
Yeah, they got a new property manager in there, and he's been, letting us know whenever stuff has been going on.
Yeah.
But the
Jason?
original owner has passed away.
That's my
So-
understanding.
So how do you collect money except from the new owner?
Well, yeah, it
Not
gets put to the
necessarily.
property. It would be
There's
put on a
still the
lien on the
estate.
property.
There's still the estate. And somebody is obviously handling and getting on the
Yeah.
sale of the thing. So
Correct.
obviously family,
Correct.
stuff
Okay.
like that.
So who do we go after? Are we going to go
All
after
right.
the new owner or the estate? of the old
Ultimately,
owner?
we
And
would,
Is there a legal precedent to do that?
ultimately, we are going to be going after the new owner.
Yeah.
Len, I don't know if there's anything you want to speak to?
Yeah.
Complicated.
All right, the way that the statute, so what's interesting about this is because it hasn't shown up on Papa yet, right? And that's generally what we go by to serve our notices. But under the statute, if the property changes hands, you don't have to refile the code action. You just have to give the new owner a reasonable time to comply.
Mhm.
So, and statutorily, the original owner is required to notify a new owner of any pending code enforcement cases and notify the town that it's been transferred. They never do it, but, but in this case, there was a lien search, so the new property owner should have been aware of the pending code enforcement action.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'd like to hear from the offender.
But the offender's not here.
Not here.
Oh,
Hey,
Well-
if one if is deceased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, then I guess they're not objecting.
Is there,
That's called the default when the other side doesn't show up.
well, I can
So.
go with-
The board has already asked questions of the staff. We can't ask questions of the offender or the public, so we can deliberate on this.
I think I'd recommend that we listen to Jason, give the new owner 60 days to
Yeah.
get in compliance, knowing that what's happening here now. And now, do we know who the new owner is? Is there a way?
Again, there's been no change on the property appraiser's website, and that's typically what I go. I am kind of hearing this information secondhand that the property is transferred ownership. I was surprised knowing that there was a lien on the property, that a transfer of ownership was able to go through. But as long as both parties are just they disclose and they're both aware of the situation, I guess they can
How much
transfer.
was the lien for?
Well, there's been no amount yet because the case hasn't brought to the hearing yet.
Right.
But there's an open code case, pending code case. That means there could potentially be fines.
Can we table this? I don't know. As I said, can we table this until we know more information?
I don't see any reason to table it because there's no other side to take into account when the defendant doesn't show up to give their side. Unless they called or there's some reason why they're not here, then it's it's a default.
And currently, there's a stop work order, no work is being done. It is staying what it looks like right now.
Correct, should be. Yep.
So
And let's go.
a motion for this would be, for example, that we find the respondent in violation of the town code as alleged by notice of violation, and that they be ordered to comply within 60 days or be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date of compliance. That would be it, but I'm not making a motion because I can't.
I make a motion
Yeah,
for
yeah.
number 3, exactly what he said. But when's the 60 days start? From when they know or?
From today.
Oh, from today?
Today.
Today,
So that's my motion.
February to March, April 8th.
Okay, did we get that motion down?
So who made the first?
He said it, I repeated it. I make the motion.
Well, Sorsa made the first.
Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Turbine?
Member Trevini making a second, okay. Member La Sorsa,
Yes.
member Trevini?
Yes.
Member Axelrod?
Yes,
Member Murray?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Perlow
Yes,
and Chairperson Schlam.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, on to the next case, which is case number CC 2021-09009. That's Joseph Capozzoli,
Okay, let me bring him in.
another 45 Ocean condo. The code section 30-122A, building permits required. Violation, it was observed that there was demolition of the bedroom closet without a permit. Which, okay, do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? None? Okay, at this time, I now open the violation hearing. I turn it over to Staff Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Thank you, Inspector Jason Manco, Code Compliance, Town of Highland Beach. I believe this is the gentleman we have waiting on Zoom. Okay.
yes,
Case number 2021-09-009. Address is 4511 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 605, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on September 22nd, 2021, and most recently February 7th, 2022. On September 22nd, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. Demolition of bedroom closet and electrical work without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On September 22nd, 2021, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser tax roll, Joseph Capozzoli. Service was obtained by certified mail and posting at the property on December 7th, 2021. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. This property is still in violation. Town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be ordered to comply within 30 days or be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for staff?
So compliance is just application for the permit?
Obtaining the permit.
Obtain.
They have to get the permit. The permit actually has been applied for. The last action from the contractor that I saw on the permit was from January 20th. So it's kind of been sitting around. I've spoken with the homeowner. It's not necessarily his fault. Permit should have been applied beforehand, but now we have a situation where the work was done. The contractor he has hired. I haven't spoken to the contractor. I know they've started an application, but there's been no activity on the portal since January 20th.
There's been no work done since January
where's it
20th.
done?
no.
I don't know about there should not be any work
There's a stop
done,
work order, so.
but the permit application has stalled. They've opened the permit application
Yeah.
and typically
Why is it stalled? I mean.
I couldn't tell you. This is the contractor.
Why don't you ask?
Yeah,
we
no,
have
but I'm
Mr.
asking,
Capizoli here.
I'm
Why don't
asking
we ask him?
Yeah.
Mr. Manco.
Yeah,
His opinion on that.
I'm letting you know what I know. The contractor opened the permit application and now there's been no, there were deficiencies in the original application. Not sure exactly what they were. We can find that out if need be, but it's not really necessary. There's been no response to these deficiencies that are required to issue the permit. So here, Mr. Capizoli may, he's obviously working with his contractor and he may know what's being, what the holdup is. But as far as I know, I don't know why they're not moving, but my job is to get them
Right.
moving.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the
Yep.
town that was sitting on it
No.
installing. it.
We
Okay,
process permits pretty fast. It's not.
okay.
He's on.
Now the offender may give testimony. Please provide your name and affiliation with the violation.
Mr. Capizoli,
Yes,
you can provide your comments at this point.
okay. I recently purchased this unit here and I contracted with a gentleman to paint the place. And I was not here. I was up north in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. I came here on November the 14th and to live here to go for my cancer treatment at the Lynn Oncology Center here. That's why I'm here. In the meantime, the cancer I had is a bone-breaking cancer, and it broke the bones in my back. I have a broken back that I am recovering from. I had fusion 6-week surgery 6 weeks ago, and I'm still unable to walk. I've tried to be in compliance with everything you guys are doing, and I respect everything you're doing. Keep this town in a proper manner. I've talked to Jason many times, and the contractor assured me that I paid an architect money last week to get the drawings in line and an engineer in line and an electrician in line to get all the proper permits as soon as possible. The contractor assured me that he would do all that, and I don't know much about this. Like I said, I just moved here and I wanted to have this place looking nice. Contractor was originally brought on board to paint the place, and that was it. While he was painting, he said, I did another unit here in this building, similar to yours. And if you take this partition wall out of the closet, it gives you a lot more room in the living room area. You want me to do that? And I said, do you think it's okay? He said, yes. It's only a partition. So that's how this all came about. And I respect you guys for what you're doing. And I hope to comply with everything that you want me to do.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Does the town's staff have any questions for the offender?
No.
The offender wishes to offer any rebuttal test. Does the offender wish to offer any rebuttal testimony or ask questions of staff?
No, I just want to comply with anything that they want me to do.
Okay. This is the time for the board to question staff, the offender, and/or the public. So anyone on the board have any questions for the offender in particular? Okay, well, then the public hearing is now closed. And is there a motion for staff's recommendation?
I'll make the motion that he be found in violation, be ordered to comply within 30 days, and be fined if so after that, up to a number 3, $250 a day for each violation he has to set. But he has 30 days to do it. Hopefully, his contractor can get this settled within the next 30 days. So my motion is the number three, as Jason has recommended,
30 days.
right? Is that what you recommended?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And $250 prosecution fees.
Yes, has to be.
Yeah,
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Member Axelrod,
Yes,
Vice Chairperson Perlo,
Yes,
Member LaSorsa,
Yes.
Member Murray.
Yeah.
Member Tribini,
Yes.
and Chairperson Schlam.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Case D is
Thank
CC 21-10-002, Robert Leone, and that is 4217 Intracoastal Drive in Bellito. Violation observed was 30-122A. Violation was bathroom modeling without a permit was observed. Do the members of the board have any ex parte communications to disclose on this? At this time, I now open a violation hearing. I turn it over to staff, Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Thank you. Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance. Case number 2021-10-002. Address is 4217 Intercoastal Drive, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on October 5th, 2021. On October 5th, 2021, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. Bathroom remodel without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On October 5th, 2021, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Robert Leone. Service was obtained by certified mail and posting at the property address on December 22nd, 2021. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. This property is still in violation. There has not been a permit issued yet. The town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be ordered to comply within 30 days or be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. At this, does the board have any questions for staff?
is this picture, the debris on the street, is that a
Correct.
further violation?
I think that was out on bulk trash day. That was a Monday. So that wouldn't have been on that day. The resident did have that removed because that was in like a dumpster bag. So it was put out on the curb, and that's how the case came to be. But as far as another violation, I believe that was on a bulk trash pickup day, so it wouldn't technically been a violation, but the contents of the bag it tells a different story.
Jason, did they finish the remodeling?
I'm not sure. No, I mean, they haven't done any more than there is now. He's got a contractor. I think he was trying to do an owner builder permit, but then there was loopholes that were tough to get through for that. So he's got another contractor that's going on, and he's in the process of getting the permit too, but the permit has not been issued. So we have to, move forward with the case.
Okay.
Okay, the offender may now give testimony. Is the offender here, present? No? Okay, well, that makes that easy. Does the town staff, okay, the offender, no rebuttal testimony. Board has any more questions? No? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion for the staff's recommendation?
Doing number 3. I can't do it.
Or do we need to discuss it? Does anyone need to discuss it? I mean, we don't have another side here, so that means we're basically going on default.
I'll make a
But-
motion for number 3. I move the respondents be found in violation of town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be ordered to comply within 30 days and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains. After the date set for compliance, and excess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the day set for compliance.
Sounds good. Do we have a second?
Second,
Thank you.
Vice Chairperson Perlow,
Yes.
Member Axelrod,
yes.
Member LaSorsa,
Yes.
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Tribini,
Yeah.
and Chairperson Schlam.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, next case is CC 2021-10-005. That's Henny and Henry Gillel at 3720 South Ocean Boulevard, apartment 1005. That's Toscana,
Yes.
Toscana West.
My building.
Okay, so that being said, it was a code violation for kitchen, bathrooms, and flooring without permit. To the board members, I know we have people here from Toscana on the board, so is there any ex parte communications with the Gillels or anybody on this case?
They're not even in the country.
They're not even in the country?
I don't think so.
Are you also in
I'm
Toscana?
on the board. I'm in Toscana West.
Okay, all right, I thought so. Okay. At this time, I open the violation hearing. I turn it over to Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco.
Thank you, Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance for the record. Case number 2021-10-005, 3720 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 1005, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on October 12th, 2021 and February 7th, 2022. On October 12th, 2021, the property was inspected and the following violations were discovered. Complete unit remodel without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On October 12th, 2021, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Henny and Henry Gillel. Service was obtained by certified mail and by posting at the property address on December 8th, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of now, the property remains in violation with no permit issued. Town recommends that the respondents be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be ordered to comply within 30 days or be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set of compliance, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for town staff?
So as of October, they were found in violation. Correct?
Correct,
And this is now February,
correct.
and nothing has been done. They have not applied for a permit or anything like that.
So they've applied for permits and they've been issued some permits for the work. There's a general building permit, there's electrical, there's plumbing, there's structural, there's fire sprinkler, there's all, and they have obtained some of them, but not all the permits required. So they need to obtain these last permits in the next 30 days they need to obtain the permits, period. And it's up to you how much time you want to give them. We're recommending 30 days.
Is the offender present?
No.
No offender present. Okay. In that case, no more questions for staff. Public hearing is now closed. Unless we have any deliberations here, then we can have a motion for motion on staff's recommendation.
Could we I'd make the motion on, this is a multiple violation theoretically, isn't it? Because they have multiple permits? Or is it only
One
violation?
ordinance violation,
Okay.
just work without permit. Doesn't matter the scope. It's just,
Really?
I'm learning.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we all learn.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion that we move the respondent to be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and he or she may be ordered to comply within 30 days, will be fined an amount up to $250 per day for each violation remains after the date set for compliance, and assess prosecution costs of the violation in the amount of $250 payable by the date set.
That's the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Member Axelrod,
Yes,
Vice Chairperson Perlow,
Yes,
Member LaSorsa,
Yes.
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Trevini,
Yes.
and Chairperson Slam.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next case is CC 2021-11-017. Eugene Jamrose, it might be pronounced Hamrose. Not sure. It's 1108 Highland Beach Drive, number 1. That's also in Bellito. The violation observed was a water heater change out without a permit. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? This time, I now open the violation hearing. I turn it over to Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Thank you. Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance. Case number 2021-11-017, 1108 Highland Beach Drive, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during the inspection on November 22nd, 2021. On November 2nd, yes. On November 22nd, the property was inspected and the following violation was discovered. Water heater installation in a multifamily residence without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. This code violation is a repeat violation of the Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required, as determined from Code Case 2020-109. On November 22nd, 2021, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Eugene Jamrose. Service was obtained by certified mail and posting at the property on December 30th, 2021. In addition of a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. Since the property has obtained a permit for the change out, the town, however, the town recommends that the respondent be found in repeat violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that they be fined $500 per day from the date given for compliance, because this is a repeat violation. And the date given for compliance is 12/6/2021 until the compliance date when the permit was obtained of January 11th, 2022, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250. Okay, any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This was a repeat violation?
Yes, this case 2020-109, there was a work without permit violation that went to code hearing as well.
For a hot water
And-
heater?
and-
What was that other violation for?
I believe that one was for a deck, like a dock deck area.
yeah, I remember.
Okay. All right, so this was for a water heater.
And the
Does it matter if it was under warranty and it was being swapped out by the
Still-
company? That's
still gonna, when you're in a multifamily residence, and I mean, Highland Beach, there's pretty much a permit for everything, in particular in a multifamily residence. Any kind of work needs permits in a multifamily residence. That's the bottom line. So it doesn't matter whether it's under warranty or not. You're gonna change out a water heater, you need a permit for it. And notice was given to, again, this was on
multifamily residence, you mean a condo
anything other
building?
than a single family home. Yeah.
Okay,
So the violation was observed on November 22nd, 21, and they were given till December 6th to obtain a permit. The permit was not issued until January 11th. So, there was, despite this case was going to go to a hearing regardless, right? They still did not get a permit within the period between November 22nd and December 6th. So now here we are at the hearing. The permit was issued on the 11th. we're asking for penalties for repeat violation, $500 per day. From the date requested of compliance until the date the permit was issued.
From December to January.
December 6, 2021 to January 11th, 2022.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The dock was part of a multifamily complex?
Correct.
So that would go against all the unit owners. Wouldn't that
He is,
separate that from the hot water heater? as
this
we-
was on the same 1108 unit 1. It was the same property owner.
There are some buildings where
I-
they have.
It's like a
individual
triplex.
has their
I'm
own
sorry?
It's like a triplex.
Oh, it's a triplex?
Yeah.
So each one of them has their own dock?
This was on
We've,
the,
as planning board, I've approved some of these docks. So yes, they have individual docks
Wow.
and they
Oh,
can do that.
Then he's a repeat. All right.
Yes, it's a repeat.
Our dock's one long dock.
I know,
So-
So just to get this straight, that you're proposing a $500 a day fine from starting back in December?
Yeah,
starting from we're not even asking from the date that he committed the violation. We're asking from the date that we asked for compliance by.
Right.
So we gave him,
Grace.
2 weeks, 14 days, 14 calendar days to apply a permit. No permit was even applied for until January 10th.
Wow, it's a-
And then once the permit was applied on January 10th and it was approved and issued January 11th.
You know, it was holiday time.
no
not for nothing,
holidays.
But back in December, November, December. Okay, well, you know what, hopefully the offender's here, he can explain it.
No,
Is Mr. Hamraz here? No, he's not. Okay, well, in that case, I say we go with what,
with number
Count.
5.
it's a default again.
Mm,
You know, if you don't show up for the hearing, you know, that's.
Okay, number 5. A repeat violation. I move that the respondent be found in repeat violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that he or she be fined $500 per day from the December 6th, that the violation was observed to the date of the compliance, and assess the prosecution cost in the amount of, now that's going to be $250 again?
Yes, prosecution costs will remain $250.
$250.
Wait a sec, you're fine,
Payable.
wait, $500 a day
Oh,
from December,
yes.
every day?
Yes.
10,000.
Yes,
This is for a water heater? It's like a
For work
$800
without
water
permit.
heater.
Correct.
Yeah.
but he's a repeat
$800
offender.
water. So how much are we talking here? It's like 500 times over 30 days. Let me do the math on this. It's a lot of
Do
money.
you have another one?
500.
1,500.
I mean, this may be one of the heftiest fines I've seen in a
Yeah,
while
but-
for a
Jason,
water heater.
Jason,
I
do we
mean,
have any
You know, you
luck in
gotta have hot
collecting?
water.
What's that?
Do we really have any luck in collecting any of this money?
Look, I don't collect the money. I'm
Goes
just
into
following
lien.
our town ordinances. This is what the town ordinances call for. And this is our procedure.
Right,
Now, we do have the right, says up to $500.
Up to 500.
So
Sure.
we can go.
You have
somewhere
your
between
discretion, whatever you want to
$250
do.
and $500 if you want.
Yep.
Yeah, so for repeat violations, you can actually start the day it was observed. So it could actually start back in November if that's the board's discretion. But
no,
the
we're,
fine is up to 500, so it doesn't have to be 500. It's again within the board's discretion.
so we're covering the December 6th to January
That's
11.
$15,000.
Yeah,
It's almost.
My opinion is that 500 a day is excessive for a water heater. Now, keep them, you know, I'm mindful of the fact that it's a repeat offender. Okay, that's why it's 500 and not the normal 250. But 500 times every day for 30 days, I mean, if we find them 500 in total for this, I would be okay with that. And plus the $250 cost of prosecution.
I think
I
it deserves
think the
more
point
than
would be made, but
500 may be excessive, but I think I don't think you should get away with just 500. I think there should be a dollar amount, be it 100, be it $50 a day. It should be something, a penalty.
What about 250 a day for like starting from a later date though than December, like starting from
But that doesn't
January?
make-
Something the day he was
I-
served.
That's kind of, he's correct. That's a lot of money for a hot water heater. And you
But
gotta
this
have
is-
hot water.
But he's the second time he did this with the dock
Yeah,
too.
but-
This is someone who doesn't care about procedure.
Okay, procedure isn't only thing, it's life safety. Did he get a permit for it?
The permit is, yeah, there's been a permit
Okay.
issued at this point.
So the life safety issue he took care of, which is his own life and his own safety. I think it's excessive. I mean, what, you're just being punitive if you doing that.
Hate to say, it. I agree with you on the amount, because we're talking about $15,000
Yeah,
on a water
that's-
heater.
That's not
which is the
right.
thing.
He's a-
But
15,000.
that's what it comes out to, $15,000.
What is your suggestion?
That's my recommendation. It's not my recommendation. It's the
The
town's
town ordinance,
recommendation,
okay.
right? So, when fines are issued also for this type of thing, my experience is there's typically mitigations for them also, which could be discussed at a later date. But, that's not my
Yeah.
wheelhouse here. I just give what.
Another thing
town
that goes
recommendation.
against the offender is not showing up to the hearing. If they had been here and had some valid reason why the permit wasn't obtained, we would take that into consideration, but to not show up to the hearing just shows a lack of caring, I think, about it. But still, I still think that 500 a day for $15,000 for a water heater is a bit much. I mean, I think $500 is more than making the point, plus a $250, that's $750. 750 for a water heater because he's a repeat offender. But
I picked a
that
number like $2,500, which is a punishment. With all due respect, I understand, we are a code enforcement, and this is punitive situation. So I think that somewhere along the line, if we're gonna find somebody else, one person, $250, who does one thing and
Right.
gets a permit immediately, then $250, $500 is not that much more. So I think
right.
we have to pick up a number somewhere between, and I say 2,000 or something like that shows that we
Mean business.
mean business, and maybe next time he won't do it.
Right.
That's what we have to show. We have to,
So-
stuff like that.
What do the rest of you guys think?
Comment?
2,500, 2,000? We can go anywhere from 500 a day, or we can just pick a flat amount,
A flat
right?
amount.
That's what I'm
If you
saying.
wish. That's what I was gonna say. You could either pick a small amount per day, like a $50 per day, and do it for the period of time, or if you want to pick a flat fee for a certain number of
A
days,
flat
that's fine.
one. Right.
So who negotiates if the homeowner says, I can't pay this? Do you negotiate that with them?
No,
No.
it goes as a lien on their property.
It
Oh,
goes
it just
to lien.
goes as a straight lien?
Mhm.
We need a flat number, I think,
Well,
or $50 a day, whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it by the day. I would just give, in this case, just for the aggregate offense, being a second offense, 2,500, 1,500,
1,500.
1,500. You
That-
said
because the rest of
2,500.
it-
I think
Crazy.
2,000 will
You
be-
s- Why don't we split it right in the middle, 2,000?
Okay.
Someone have a motion?
Dave?
Highest bidder sold.
Whoever made, who made the,
Two-
who made the first motion? Did we make a motion initially? Or just changing, can we just?
Ms.
change-
Perlo made the motion.
What?
Yeah.
Ms.
Perlo.
Perlo.
Right, so we're gonna do it.
Number
as
3.
two-
I make a motion to amend it to a total, instead of per day, I think of $2,000 plus court, cost, what do you call it? Cost of $250.
yeah,
So it comes out to
$250.
$2,150.
Okay. Vice Chairperson Parlow,
Fine,
Member Axelrod,
Yes.
Member La Sorsa,
No,
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Tribini,
Yes.
and Chairperson Schlam.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1.
That was-
Before you go forward, I believe we have, Mr. Chow present. He was not here at the beginning of the meeting to be sworn in, so I will need to swear him in.
If you could just give me 2 minutes.
Sure.
Restroom. Thank you.
So we're on a small recess for 2 minutes.
You know what kills me about this though?
I'm sorry?
The contract is the one who's his fault. It's the contractor. Because let me tell you, I was in Italy and we had my water heater changed.
I don't know. He isn't here to defend us,
I know that. That's his mistake.
but a brand new hot water heater is about $500.
800 maybe. Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. We have another.
We ready to resume? Okay.
Yes, we are.
Um. Known we did, L we did.
Run G.
Chow was, that was,
Item
G.
9G.
he was actually the next one.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And he's here.
Yes.
How convenient. Okay. That's case number CC 2021-12-001. Sampson Chow, 4400 South Ocean Boulevard. That's also Bellito. It was a code violation observed an AC change out without permit. Do any board members have any ex
Excuse
parte?
me, Chairperson Slam, I need to swear him in
Oh,
for
okay.
the record, and I also will be swearing in Mr. Mark Laurie, which is on 10-8, so I'll swear them both in at the same time. Please stand and raise your right hand. By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? Mr. Chow's case? At this time, I open the violation hearing. I turn it over to Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Thank you, Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance, case number 2021-12-001. Address is 4400 South Ocean Boulevard, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during inspection on December 2nd, 2021. It's December 2nd, 2021. On that date, the property was inspected and the following violations were observed. AC installation without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. Permit was not obtained within the 24-hour grace period for emergency AC changeout. On December 2nd, a notice of violation was sent to the owner's list on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Mr. Samson Chow. Service was obtained by certified mail and posting at the property address on December 30th, 2021. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. Since that time, permit has been obtained. The property is now in compliance. The town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, but is now in compliance, that a do not repeat order be issued, and to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250. Thank you.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for staff? The offender may now give testimony. Please come up, sir, and provide your name and affiliation with the violation.
Yeah, my name is Samson Chow. I'm the owner of the property. And on December the 2nd, I have Island Air Conditioning Company to change over air condition because it suddenly broke down. It's an emergency case. And I was in the building at that day when the installation was done. And it took about 3 hours actually. I was not informed at the same time that I have to have a permit, or I have to make sure my contractor have a permit. So until December 30th, I received this notice. And I was shocked at the time because I didn't know what happened to my contractor and to me. And I called my contractor right away. At the same day, about an hour after I saw this in the morning, they respond. When they respond, they said, oh, we don't have people to work in this yet, and we have to hire they subcontract the permit to another company. And it takes time for us to go back and forth because this is after almost 30 days, the installation and that day of the post. So I was keeping the dark all the time. I should have, well, in some other country, some other places, they will give you advance notice. Hey, you don't have anything like this, and you have to do this, comply this within 30 days or something. That means you give the owner a certain time period to respond. And that's what my case is. I don't have that privilege.
So you're saying you were notified on what date? Jay?
I was notified on December the 30th. It's posted on my door, front door.
Okay,
And that morning, then I understand that I'm on violation of the code. So I respond right away, within 1 hour. I call my contractor, hey, you didn't do this.
did you get the permit?
Yeah, I asked him, hey, did you get a permit? And they asked me to get a permit. And they say, hey, are we gonna do it right away? And they did it right away. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I understand you need to, when an AC breaks,
yeah,
that's an emergency here in Florida. I
Exactly.
mean, you need to replace that immediately. Permit, no permit, it's got to be done, but you still need to get the permit.
yeah,
We know it's not going to be, necessarily in advance because you don't know when your AC is going to break down. But as soon as you're notified, then you're supposed to, actually, you're supposed to get the permit, whether as soon as possible.
yeah, that's what I noticed. I notified my contractor, you have to get a permit because it was done by them. And after they asked for a permit, they get a permit. I actually called the city. Hey, do you have to come down here to take a look at the work to certify the work? Oh, you cannot call. You have to have the contractor to call me. And I was totally on the dark side of the whole game.
Yes, questions?
You mentioned that when you went and talked to your AC company to get the permit,
Yeah.
that they had to go outside of the company for the qualifier to pull the permit?
I believe so because I believe they don't have enough people to work in the office.
Well, it ain't a matter of that.
What AC company?
Really is unlicensed.
It's Island Air. Island,
Island. Oh, yeah, I see them all.
it's shortage of people all everywhere, especially getting people working the paperwork, the girls. And that is a problem associated with this whole thing.
So you have the permit now, right?
I have the permit, everything is done.
We can't penalize you for getting the AC replaced before you had the permit. Like in most cases, you're not supposed to do any work until you have the permit first. But when it comes to an AC, that's kind of an emergency situation. I think a water heater would also fall under that if it's, a situation where it needs to be replaced. Then you get the permit as soon as possible afterwards. And according to the town, a lot of time went by, right? How much time, Jason? What, 2 months or a month? How much later?
Yeah, so, well, as the date of the permit issued, it clearly was after he received the notice of hearing, right? So first we send out a notice of violation asking for the respondent to comply by a certain date. I can't guarantee that he didn't get that letter. That's just sent first class US mail. This one, we make sure, because it's a notice of hearing, that it goes on the door. So maybe the first letter, he didn't get. He received a notice of hearing at that point on December, what was the date? December 30th. So the permit was issued after that, and he's in compliance. All we're seeking right now is cost of prosecution for.
This whole thing is under 60 days. I mean, in December, it's still February now. The work was completed. He has a permit.
Yep.
Right.
We're asking, because it's work without permit, right? Any work without permit case we have in the town, we ask that a do not repeat order be issued so that we don't come up on the same problem like we did with the last case. And the penalty is a little stiffer. Not that I don't think Mr. Chow did anything here to try to get some work done without permit, completely different thing, but it's an AC. It falls under the same ordinance of working without a permit.
Right.
The AC company should have applied for the permit first thing within 24 hours. Maybe they could have called town hall and told them, we're going to be doing the AC. But bottom line is they should have applied for it within 24 hours, open and shut, deal done. They did not. We didn't get a permit within that time. So then I gave him time to comply with. This is going to be with a permit late fee, right? Which was, I don't have does anyone have the letter open there? Let's see. Okay, so it was just within 24 hours to get the permit. So it was not obtained within 24 hours. So from that point, it goes to a code hearing.
24 hours? How does anyone get a permit in 24
AC
hours?
companies do it every day.
They get it
Yep.
within 24 hours?
Sure. Very simple permit. Go apply, building department can review it, issue it. That's the way ACs go. Obviously, they go whenever they want to go. And you can't plan ahead for a permit. But we do give a grace period for emergency AC and water heater change outs.
I tell this story a lot, but my AC company, you know, I thought they had a permit and I thought they had did it before they put the AC in. And I found out that they didn't. And then months later, 6 months later, they finally did get the permit, which I called and confirmed. But, you know, certainly wasn't an overnight deal.
Every day I talk to people in this town getting AC changed. I say, make sure you get your permit. Either go into the building department today or online, or by the end of the day tomorrow to get your permit. Otherwise, you're going to have a work without permit code violation.
Miles, were you fined?
No. This was a long time
A
ago.
long time, it was Hiram Beach.
Yeah, it was on Island Beach.
I just had my air conditioning just done recently.
But I kept bugging them
And
about the
I will
permit.
tell you, initially, Hill York said, oh, there was a form to fill out for getting a permit. And initially, they said to me, you don't need a permit. And then called me back the next day, fill it out. And for some reason, now Hill York does a lot of air conditioning, so I couldn't understand that.
Right.
But this happened to me. I mean, and
So
it was like, my air conditioner was just being replaced, so I didn't get. worried.
I actually would have never known had I not
Yeah.
called and spoke with Mr. Remus, I believe, and he told me that I asked him what if it was, you know, the permit had been pulled, and he said it's still open. So that's when I called the AC company. I said, you know, you better get your butt over there and get the permit.
At this point, we're not, charging, we're actually right now down to, according to Mr. Jason, we're only talking about right now costs, the 250 again.
So do we have a
So-
motion? If there's no.
I suggest to the town of Highland Beach that at the same time, when they find out the installation without permit, you should put a tag on the work at the same time, same day, so that the owner can respond accordingly. Instead of waiting for mail, the mail can go somewhere else.
But they usually post it on the door too, don't they?
I hope,
We
but
have a
we need
picture
to
of
have,
it.
we don't have that.
You didn't have anything posted on your door?
It can be done something else, some other way to do it. We just put a tag on the machine or on the front door. That's simple, and then the owner will respond. If they don't respond, then you start the process. Simple.
Well,
And
they
just suggest
are,
for change, that's it.
they are supposed to have,
And nothing else I need.
supposed to be posted on your front door.
So we would typically post a stop work order for anything other than a AC change out or water heater change out. But we, in this situation, we didn't. So the way I was able to get contact with the owner was through mail.
Okay. Do we have a motion? In violation but corrected, and a do not stop, do not stop, do not repeat order. $250 cost of prosecution. That's it. So violation was committed, but it was rectified prior to the hearing, and a do not repeat $250 cost of prosecution. I
Who's
didn't make
making
the
the
motion.
motion? I need a first.
I'm just,
Want me to do it? I move the respondents be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, but are now in compliance and that a do not repeat order be issued and a prosecution charge of $250 be fined.
We have a second?
Second,
Roll
Okay.
call?
Vice Chairperson Perlow,
Yes.
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Axelrod,
yes,
Member La Sorsa,
Yes.
Member Tribini,
Yeah.
and Chairperson Slam.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, on to new business. We have case number 2021-10-010. That's Mark Lowry, 4511 South Ocean Boulevard. It's another 45 Ocean building, and another AC installation without permit. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? At this time, I now open the violation hearing. I turn this over to Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Thank you. For the record, Inspector Jason Manco, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance, case number 2021-10-010. Address is 4511 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 402, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on December 21st, 2021. On December 21st, 2021, I spoke with the homeowner regarding an incomplete permit application, and the following violation was discovered. AC installation without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On December 21st, 2021, a notice of violation was sent to the owner on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Mr. Mark Lowry. Service was obtained by a certified mail and posting at the property address on January 25th, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. This violation has since been remedied. The permit has been issued. Town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, is now in compliance, that a do not repeat order be issued, and to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250. Thank you.
Does the board have any questions for staff?
I'm sorry, I'm confused about the violation. What was the violation for?
Work without permit, AC installation.
Yeah, on the paperwork here, I have something that says observed rock road swale.
That's the next case.
that's the next case.
It says Mark
I
Lowry.
know, that's a mistake.
Okay, it's just a
That's
misprint.
mistake there,
All right. Yes, I see. That's Michael Rothberg.
yeah.
All right. So is there any other questions for Mr. Manco before we have the offender who is here, correct? Mr. Lowry, would you please come up and provide your name and affiliation violation?
Thank you. May it please the body. Thank you. I'm Mark Lowry. I live at 402 and 45 Ocean. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard today and the hearing today. I moved, just a little background on what happened here and who I am. I moved to Highland Beach 6 years ago, and I have fallen in love with this place. I first rented a condo for 6 years or 4 years, and then found a condo to buy just above me. I rented 302 and I purchased 402. I gutted it and I did a complete remodel. And in doing so, we obtained all the necessary permits, and I was living in a hotel in Deerfield Beach, which wasn't pleasant for about 6 months or so. And my GC was my ex-father-in-law, if you can all picture that. My ex and I do have a good relationship, but of course he is not going to be as hands-on as I was hoping he was. And so he left a lot of the duties up to me. And I would ask him questions and he would essentially say, well, let's see what happens. It was difficult to say the least. Anyhow, I remember the AC company saying, we're doing the fans. Do you want to change out the AC? And I thought, yeah, sounds good. We're doing everything else. Let's go for it. And he goes, okay, we'll take care of it. And to me, I thought that meant they'll do their job and get the permit as well. And I hear from Mr. Manco that that wasn't done properly. I just had no knowledge of that. Had I known that, of course, I would not have skirted the laws here. I do love this town in large part because when I was renting here, I was actually the victim of a crime for stalking. And I had the person prosecutor for aggravated stalking. Detective Dwayne Fernandez of our police department was phenomenal, investigating and helping to prosecute this lady. And because of that, I donated to the police department, donated some art, and I as well bought them a big lunch. I still am very grateful. I still am friends with Detective Fernandez on a personal level, and it's been really rewarding to work with him. So I am very grateful, and I love living in this town. And I would never, ever do something intentionally to go against this body's rules and regulations and disrespect the town whatsoever. I was living in a hotel and told to write checks, and I just did. And so once Mr. Manco informed me of the violation, I contacted the contractor, and a lot like Mr. Chow said, they said, okay, we'll take care of it. And that was late December. And we're here today. Now, this notice was posted on January 25th. And I know just yesterday, the permit was approved. I think there was some issue because the town, or at least the building department, thought that it was a total a brand new unit versus a change out. Maybe I'm not using the right terminology, but they thought it was putting in a unit where there wasn't one, whereas it was actually just the change out. And so it took a while, over a month for some reason, to get the permit. But now we do have the permit. The inspections actually happened this morning. And I guess one of the inspectors needs some photographs to be sent to him to perfect it, but we should be passed by this afternoon. I'm hoping so, at least. Anyhow, I do understand, certainly. I don't like being before this body respectfully because I do respect this town and respect your work. But I had zero intent to defy the commission's laws here and statutes and regulations. And I'm asking to waive the cost of prosecution because, like I said, I have given a lot back to this town. I plan to stay here for a very long time, and I had no intent whatsoever to go behind the regulations.
Does the town have any questions for the offender? Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to know when will you notify that you needed a permit? When did you?
Well, so as you know, I don't apply for them. The contractor does.
I know. You should have to tell the contractor.
Sure. The second I got the call from Mr. Manco saying, hey, this is what's happening, I called them. And I believe they were working on it all this time. And I can actually show you text messages to the contracting, the lady with the company saying, what's the story? What's the story? And I saw deficiency notices on your all's website and I got frustrated and I said, please help me. I have a hearing coming up. What is going on? That was after the 25th, once I knew this hearing was coming down the pike. And so I informed them immediately because I don't want to, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't want to fall in violation of this town or of you good folks. And so the second I knew of something, I called them immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the offender wish to offer any rebuttal testimony or ask any questions of staff?
No, thank you.
Okay. This is the time for the board to question staff or the board or the offender or public. If not, then we can just.
I have a question. Was there work going on concurrently with that change?
I can answer if you don't mind. Yes, there was. That we were doing an entire building remodel and we had the proper permits for everything else.
You mean unit?
Oh, yes.
The whole building?
No, correct. You're absolutely right. My unit
So
402.
your unit was being remodeled and you didn't have an AC contractor when you started the job?
We did. We had to change them. We first had Catalina AC and the guy was just unresponsive and not getting back to us whatsoever. And so my GC ex-father-in-law said, let's use Luma, the company that eventually did the work.
Lumina, that's the name of the AC company?
Luma, L-U-M-A.
Luma.
Officer Michael? Yes, sir. When did you become aware that there was a problem, there was no AC?
So I was aware December 21st, 2021. Let's see. And I'm trying to pull up the permit history on this one. And this was a permit that the application was initially submitted in June of 2022. And it's another, sorry, June 22nd of 21, sorry. And it was another situation where there was an application of a permit.
By a different contract.
Yeah, I can see if I can find it. It may have been from a different contractor. The point being that the application was opened and there was no activity on the permit for a length of time, in which case it gets pushed over to code enforcement to find out what's going on. On December 21st, I believe I spoke with Mr. Lowry and he said, yes, the AC was changed out. So now it's, well, the permit process needs to, yes,
Is his job completed now?
yes.
So when did you final
Today or yesterday, the
that?
permit was,
The AC, but what about?
no. The final of the AC doesn't matter. We need the permit issued, right? He's got all the time in the world to get the final of the AC. He's got 6 months from when the permit's issued to get the final. Typically, he wants to get it done and close the permit out.
What I'm looking at is a guy
Mhm.
has a unit that was being rehabbed. Right? Is that
Rep-
correct?
Right.
You started out with contractor A,
Mhm.
he went south on you. Oh, I'm sorry, am I not talking? I apologize. He went south. You had no idea that when you changed the contractors, he had to go in for a permit change out. So it expired because it was June, correct? And then they contacted you saying this is no longer a valid AC permit, but there was still other construction going on in the unit.
That I'm not aware of because my
Okay.
understanding of the AC installation was simply from talking to the respondent.
Okay, so what I see
Yep.
is that he just was unaware of all of that. And like, I could
Sure,
see
right.
your point and I see your point. I
Look-
lean towards the homeowner. I
Look,
mean,
many-
you're
many-
right.
Many of these cases are no fault of the homeowner,
Right.
right? It's a contractor issue, right? And same with the previous case before. It's not the
Right,
homeowner, it's a contractor.
Well, the other case, no. The guy told us that he hired a guy without a license, that the
Well,
contractor go get
Yeah.
another contractor to pull a
Right.
permit. So I think he's just a victim of circumstance
Sure.
as opposed to, so.
sure.
Okay.
But if there's an AC change out and there's no permit,
No.
then that's where my job comes in.
You are correct. Listen, you are so good. It's sad. Don't come to my house.
Yeah.
Okay, you
So
answered
he's
all
in
my
compliance.
questions.
He's got his permit issued. His AC job is done. It's waiting on a final inspection, but I am not so concerned.
Right, you're
about
not the
that.
inspector.
Unless it goes on and no action happens for a long
Okay.
time on this permit, in which case.
That's what it was, the final. When I was talking about mine, my guy had the permit, but it was like a year later before he got the final
Okay.
inspection.
Right.
That's what it was.
Okay.
You mentioned that. So
Right.
there's a longer time they have that final inspection. They can,
Well,
could be a
it
year.
should be no longer than 6 months.
should be 6 months.
In this town.
Okay, so now are we discussing it or?
Yeah, we're gonna discuss it.
All right, so my opinion is that this gentleman, who's not a general contractor, he obviously had a relation with one, but a contractor change out to him meant, oh, well, the permit is still good, and not knowing that there was a 6-month time limit on it. So I can understand, with
So his permit was expired.
only
For
because
his-
no activity was on it for 6 months. The town of Highland Beach only gives them that
You
window.
were under the
He
belief
didn't
that
know
your
that.
permit was still good.
Correct.
Yeah, so I
From
mean,
the
I could
original
understand,
contractor.
I could understand his pleading and I lean towards him.
And the town is saying that he should have had a second permit, this one for the AC, besides the one that he had, because the one expired for his general permit that he had, he should have gotten it renewed, right? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Manco?
Yes, to me, the permit doesn't matter who the contractor is. The permit is opened under the property. Okay, so you can change a contractor under that permit on the property. The permit for the AC change out on the property was opened. No action was taken. It was never issued. The AC was changed out. And now we have an open permit that has not been issued and work that was done. So we need the permit issued so that the work can be inspected and case can be closed out.
So the
Right.
permit still isn't issued.
The permit is issued yesterday. Yep.
Yesterday,
And like you
okay.
said, he's getting his final inspection today. So hopefully that'll be.
What's the
wrapped.
cost of a permit, by the way, for something like that?
It's-
I mean,
Yeah,
say you're gonna get an AC or a water heater swapped out.
it varies on the amount of the job.
I think I paid $140 last April
$140
here.
bucks.
Yeah.
Minimum $100, and it depends on the expense. If you're putting a few big units in there. His permit was 150. We're okay, your building permit, 100, your building commissioners and penalty. And then with the work without permit penalty over there was, it added up to about $350. So it would have been, that's with $150 penalty fee added on there. Standard would be $100 plus some other, surcharges, maybe 150 total.
Mr. Chair,
Has he been
Yes.
penalized for a late permit on top of? So he's also been already penalized for a late permit.
Right.
So has everyone that comes to this board for work without permit, because we have other ordinance violations, are charged a 2.5% times the permit fee, right? So if his permit fee was $100, he got charged $150 extra, 2.5 times.
And then the town is just asking for what? A do not repeat,
But do not repeat and
And
cost of prosecution.
cost price, that's it. No
Correct.
fine.
No.
So,
He's already,
yeah.
he's already
But
paid
he's
the penalty
asking-
fee for
He's
Right.
asking for us to waive the cost of
waive the cost.
prosecution.
Okay.
excuse me,
However,
excuse me, Mr. Chair, I
Yeah.
need to swear in Building Official Remus. He would
Mr.
like to speak.
Remus, okay.
As a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. You may step to the podium if you like.
Please.
Jeffrey, Miss Building Official, Town of Highland Beach, and I believe that we can probably put some clarification on this. The alleged violator already had a permit in place to do a complete renovation of the entire unit. One of the things that was not planned on happening was removing and replacing the AC unit. At the same time, he ended up having to go to a new AC contractor. And then what happened was that's when they decided we have to remove and replace the AC unit. So the new contractor applied for a building or an AC changeout permit, did the work, but they never came to pick it up. They never paid for it. They never had it issued. The rest of the job went on. And then later on, when this permit was sitting for months with no activity from the AC contractor, at this point, we handed it over to code of compliance to take a look at it and say, hey, what's going on? Could you see if this work was done or not? He found out the work was done. Normally in this type of situation, they could just they could have done at the end of the job, let us know. They could put in for a revision. So unfortunately, the AC contractor let him down. He already had permits in place. So I believe he's just a victim of circumstance with this. He was doing the right things.
I agree.
All right. And that this is literally almost a non-issue, but unfortunately the violation did happen only because that AC contractor dropped the ball on him.
Yeah.
So he knew that he applied because he had a sign for the permit. So he signs for the permit, says, okay, here you go. And then we take it. And then we say, hey, we have some problem with the paperwork. And we never hear back from the AC contractor and they do the work. So this is really more about the AC contractor than it is the owner. Unfortunately, the way we're set up, we have to.
Yeah, it's like strict liability, someone has to be held responsible. And
Someone has
we
to be.
don't think that he did anything wrong, but we have lots of cases like that where.
Well, and that's a regular case, but in this particular instance, the work was being done in a building, in a unit that already had a permit and already had a mechanical permit, and they were already moving forward.
That's true.
So they could have just submitted this as a revision, but they applied for a new permit for an AC change out rather than a revision. And that's when the whole thing just kind of got a little out. But again, this is definitely an issue with the AC contractor. Not the owner.
Mr. Remus is a good defense attorney here for,
Jeff is your.
So that's all I'm saying is that we're okay with whatever the board decides in this particular instance because of the paperwork shuffle with the AC contractor.
okay.
Well, I'm just reading violation with the corrected but prior to hearing. There's an asterisk at the end of that says this motion may include assessment of prosecution costs because the town proved that a violation did exist. May.
Right, exactly.
So I think
It's our
at this
discretion.
point-
We can waive it. I just,
Exactly.
I think it should be done
the
as a
time
very
spent-
sparing type of, sparingly. In a situation like this, I would agree, but everybody would like to get the cost of prosecution
Right.
waived and, I mean, that
But I think there's special
pays for all the work
situations
they
like
do,
this.
so. But this might be one of those exceptions. So do we have a motion?
I
Any more
do.
discussion?
I'll make the motion to,
And-
and I'm gonna do it this way, violation but corrected prior to hearing without any prosecution costs.
Second.
Me too.
So we don't really need a do not repeat order on this, do we?
Once there's a violation, it's automatic.
Yeah. so-
Okay, all right.
I
So
just
there's
want to say that
So the motion is there's a violation which has been corrected prior to the hearing. And we're waiving the fee, the cost of prosecution.
Okay. Member Axelrod,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Perlow,
Yes.
Member La Sorsa,
yes,
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Trevini,
Yes.
and Chairperson Schlam.
Yes,
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I just want to say what a good job Officer Mango does. though.
Thank you.
This must be
Yeah.
our job.
No, you got to leave us all money.
Thank you all again.
care.
Run while you can. Okay.
okay, so last case is CC 2021-12-014. That's Michael Rothberg, 3833.
No, Mark Lowry.
No.
Was-
Michael
oh, that was Mark
This
Lowry.
was Mark Lowry.
That was
This
Mark
is now
Lowry.
Michael Rothberg.
Oh, they got the papers wrong.
Yeah, I noticed that. This is Michael Rothberg, 3833 South Ocean Boulevard. Code violation observed was road rock in the swale and on property after construction permits have been closed. So basically, guy didn't clean up after their own mess.
Or it's landscaping.
Property.
well-
Working on docks and-
Is there any ex parte communications that we need to know about? At this time, I open the violation hearing, turn it over to Mr. Manco for testimony and recommendations.
Okay, we'll save the easiest one for last. This was not a work without permit violation, so this was just a simple maintenance plans. It's been complied. We've closed this case. It's done. There's nothing to hear.
Okay,
Good way to end it.
so we don't need a motion on that, right?
No, case
no
closed.
violation.
Case closed.
Case
Okay.
closed.
We do the do not repeat orders for the work without permits. That's our standard thing. I mean, this case is done.
All right,
Compliance.
great. So now we can go into the announcements. Chairperson, I read the announcements, February 10th. At 9:30 a.m. is a planning board meeting. What's today? Today's the 8th, so that's in 2 days. Planning board meeting.
It's canceled.
It's canceled. That is canceled. Okay. Scratch that. February 15th at 1:30 p.m. is a town commission meeting. February 21st, 2022, town hall will be closed in observance of President's Day. March 9th, 2022 at 1 p.m. is our next meeting. Code Enforcement Board, our regular meeting. That is March 9th, which should be a Tuesday, right?
I don't think so.
No, it's a Wednesday.
It's a
next
Wednesday
month.
because we have the elections on Tuesday.
That's right. Election
I have to give up my
Tuesday.
golf
Yeah.
day? I have to give up my golf day?
Sorry, I
Wait, it's at
didn't,
1:00, right? I can play.
I don't set the dates.
1:00.
You all adopted the
o'clock.
schedule at the last meeting.
You have time
remember?
for 9 holes.
I'll
Um,
get you that schedule.
Again, this happened. to me.
all right, well, being that there's no further business to come before the board, I would say that this meeting is adjourned at 2:50 PM, 2:48.
2:48.
That's not bad
2:48.
considering we had.
It's actually not bad time.